Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a surprise that befell my eyes. Now, with the points changes that happened recently, I looked over the factions that I do know things about. Naturally, I think as we all do, you rush to the section that covers your army and or armies. Um, and then later, well, things develop, you look at other armies, just like, how does this stack up against what happened to other things? What's the new meta juggernaut that I need to watch out for? And there's some armies that I appreciate from afar. One of those being Tau. Uh, the Kroot hunting pack box was probably the closest I was to starting a Tau army. Maybe that'll change after this video. We'll see. Um, but I don't necessarily know Tau. So let me put that there. I don't know. I don't know ball. I don't know Tau to the fact of yeah, this is what a good Tau army is. Um, however, I will also say though, I seem to be even further in the minority of the opinion of liking Tau, in which it seems like if you aren't a Tau player, you hate Tau, and if you are a Tau player, you hate the crew. Now, as you can see, what we're talking about today are the Kroot. And if you want to talk about the Kroot and know about Tau, you already know you're probably going to Kyle Grundy, Pure Tide Program, figure out his thoughts about Kroot and Tau and this whatever. Right. Also seen a video or two by Tau Tactics. Um, I want to say it was the interview with yeah. It sounds like it was the interview with Kyle Grundy over here that led me to it. So as you can see, I've been looking at Tau like with a watchful eye, but I never really delved into what they do. They don't get too many tops. There hasn't been that much representation of them. I believe that changed this past weekend though, because well, people are like, yeah, I don't really want to play with the chickens. Who gives a fuck about the chickens? I'm here for battle suits. Now me, if you can tell by this channel by now, I like the Xenos overall. So if you told me there was an alien empire, there was like a bunch of different Xenos races, I was bought in. And then I found out it was like not really like that. The rule doesn't do shit for like all of them. So that's that. But Kroot hunting pack, you can see it's far and few between results for them. And I didn't ever bother to read the rule. I just knew that people were taking a bunch of the little chickens and going with it, right? Just a bunch of the carnivores, far stalkers, splash of rampagers and riders. Okay? Looked at these prices. They're like, yeah, that seems fair. Nobody ever takes the fucking Kroot. And now I ask you, Tell players, why the fuck is this the case? Why are you not playing the detachment? Because this detachment, okay, has two detachment rules. Now, first off, it has Hunter's Instincts. Each time a Kroot model from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if the target of the attack is below its starting strength, add 1 to the wound roll, as well if the target of that attack is below half strength. Okay, I get it. We don't really like abilities, detachments that focus on kicking something that's already on its way out. Fine, I get that. Alright, cool. Then skirmish fighters. Kroot models. Not Kroot Carnivore or Farstalker. No, no, no. Because, again, I didn't realize that Farstalkers and Carnivores weren't battle line. Right? I just never looked into it. Okay. Skirmish fighters, Kroot models from your army, have a 6 up invulnerable save against melee attacks and a 5 up invulnerable save against ranged attacks. Excuse me, they have fucking what? Kroot models, okay? Models. Including the fucking Rampagers and the Riders and the Lone Spear, who I'm glad that this is my second take at this video and that I fucked up some things in the first one because yeah, I learned the lone spear doesn't have an invuln off rip, so I can understand it is a lone op. But you know, I was like, oh, surely it's like Neurolictor tier, which kinda is, but doesn't have an invuln, so that's fine. Cool. Uh, what do you mean you get green tide? Right? Let's just see if this is working with me again, because it was giving me some things, right? Okay, so you get green tides ability rule with less of a caveat, right? And arguably tougher in some situations to pull off, easier in others, right? Green Tide, that we know was a fucking menace, each time an attack targets a boys unit from your army, a boys unit, mind you, we just talked about Kroot model, any Kroot model, boys unit, the one data sheet from your army. Models in that unit have a 6 up invulnerable save against that attack. Each time an attack targets, you know, yada yada yada. If you have 10 or more models, it becomes a 5 up invulnerable save. We're talking about battle line. One data sheet that you have to have 10 or more models remaining in the unit to get the 5 up invuln versus any Kroot model getting a 5 up invuln for ranged and a 6 up invuln for melee. They want to be in melee, but this will help you get them to being in melee, okay? Now this one, I got it. It's the reverse of Hollowed Martyrs, Crusher Stampede, where it's just like instead of you needing to be the one to take damage to get your rule, they need to be. Which, well, if you back them up with Tau things, you you can do that pretty easily. And to that point, I understand the talking point of, well, you don't get an army rule when you focus on Kroot. And let me tell you, as a Tyranids player, and who also kind of likes orcs as the secondary, you'll be perfectly fine without having an army rule work most of the match. Yeah, you'll be fine. So especially when your detachment is so fucking turbo, like this one is. And I was like, all right, something has to be up, right? Like some of this shit has to be fucky wucky. The enhancements gotta be ass. No, the Kroot Flesh Shaper only, right? Well, the bear is leading a unit. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 5 up is a crit. So crits on 5s. Not bad. Kroot Hawk Flock, which I'll get to in a second even further, but Kroot model. This could be, well, I don't know, the Lone Spear, who is a lone op. Ranged weapons equipped by models in that bear's unit have the Ignores cover ability, and screen out deep strikes reinforcements 12 inches. For 10 points, mind you, 10 points. Okay, fuck it. Nomadic Hunter. Kroot Trail Shaper model only. While the bearer is leading the unit, add 3 inches to the move characteristic of models in that unit, and ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the Assault ability. And for 20 points? Crits on 5s and melee is 15. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that they're not the heaviest of hitters, but damn, crits on 5s for something that might have, oh, I don't know, lethals or something? Sustain, maybe? Uh, Usually works out pretty well. Now, if you can't reroll, it is what it is. But hey. But let's go back to the last enhancement. Root carved weapons. This one is probably the weakest one. Kroot War Shaper model only. All weapons equipped by the bearer have the precision and dev wounds abilities. If you're looking for another 10 points that you didn't already put on Kroot Hawk Flock, yeah, root carved weapons. Fuck it, why not? Right? Then I was like, alright, I know Unending Swarm took a massive hit when our reinforcement strategy, they said any of those once per battle. I get that. Same with Guard, took it pretty hard. So, I know that Kroot also suffered that loss too, with Join the Hunt, and GW doubled down on this one. They were like, hey, fuck you. Not only can you only do that once per battle, also, we want to clarify right now, the Shaper that gives you a free strat, which at the time, because it was a battle tactic, you can't do it. You can't reduce this by 1 CP. Doesn't work that way. And any destroyed character units attached to attached units, nah, they're not coming back either. It's just like, damn, okay, get the point. You just get some skinny chickens back once per turn, or once per game, excuse me. Cool. Alright, got it. The Grizzly Feast is pretty ass, not gonna lie. In your opponent's next command phase, each enemy within 6 inches of your unit must take a battle shock test. If the enemy taking that test is below half strength, subtract 1 from the test. Enemy units affected by this stratagem do not need to take another battle shock test in the same phase. This is during the fight phase. I don't know why you would really need to do this after you've destroyed 1 or more enemy units with your Kroot unit. Uh, on my horror specs, it makes sense because Tyranids have things that capitalize off of Battle Shock. Don't really know what they were going for there, but I'm not too mad at it when I've read the rest of this shit because you just get to do whatever the fuck you want in this detachment. A trap well laid. Mmm, mmm. I see the word Battle Shock. This is going to be terrible, right? 1 Kroot unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. After your unit has resolved its attacks this phase, select 1 enemy unit that was hit by 1 or more of those attacks. Okay. Until the end of the phase, each time a Kroot model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, unless the attacking unit is battle shocked. Oh, that's just a restriction. Okay. Improve the AP of that attack by 1. Interesting. So you're telling me that a trap well laid, in combination with, again, the lone spear that'll, I don't know, let you reroll hit rolls or something crazy like that, uh, can just boost output of AP by 1? Fucking Armor of Contempt. A trap well laid is a trap well laid. Guerrilla Warriors. This will let you fall back, shoot, and charge. Damn straight. Alright, fuck it, fine. At least it's not advanced on top of it. EMP grenades. This one, another one that you probably won't see active, especially again, Tyranids player. I don't have vehicles, but EMP grenades. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy vehicle unit is selected to shoot or fight. 1 Kroot grenades unit from your army within 8 inches of that enemy vehicle unit till the end of the phase. Worsen the skill of whatever they're using for the phase by 1. Cool. Alright. Stealth, but you still get to have stealth because they thought about this. A lot of the profiles of Kroot have stealth, or at least enough of them. So, this way, it's -2 to hit basically. Cool. With a vehicle. Uh, Hidden Hunters, let's wrap it up. What could Kroot possibly need past that point? Instead of a Feel No Pain, which one of the Shapers gives their unit, fuck it. Lone Op 18 inches. Alright, cool. Now, this is something that I probably should have looked into a little bit more. I didn't check the FAQ for this, but I noticed that this one doesn't say that your enemy gets to select new targets if you loan up what they were targeting. Last I checked, the FAQ just said any loan op strat that said you go to 12 inches, it becomes 18. Uh, if somebody knows and has that ready, feel free to let me know. But if Hidden Hunters also just let you waste their targeting, that's pretty nice, right? So we have all that out the way of. Now that we know what Kroot Hunting Pet can do, alright, cool. Let's talk about the Rampagers. Because Kroot models, right? You're telling me that a Kroot Rampager, one of them, is T6, 5 up save, 5 wounds. I don't give a damn about this profile right now. And it has a weaker tank shock, where it's per model, roll 1d6 that gets into engagement range on force, d3 mortal wounds. If you destroy a model that way, the enemy unit must take a battle shock test. Okay, cool. That's all fine and dandy. Let's go to the new points for this, right? Kroot Rampagers, 190 points for 6, right? 6 models, 5 wounds. That's 30 wounds, T6, 5 up save, 5 up invulnerable against range, 6 up against melee. That will do +1 to hit and +1 to wound at certain points in the game. For again, 190 points. For a little less than a tenth of my list, I get 30 wounds. That scout 7 inches, I'm taking that. With grenades? Hello? With grenades. And their own little mini grenades. With Lance on the weapon already. +1 to hit. Sustained extra attacks. Okay? Like, are we serious? And then also have the riders up. The riders. You can have less of them in the unit, right? This one, they get to do this crazy thing in which when a friendly Kroot infantry unit within 6 inches of this unit is selected as the target of attack, one unit from your army with this ability can make attacks as if it was your shooting phase, but you can only target that enemy unit that targeted your other homie. 3 models, again, 5 wounds, 15 wounds for, oh, let's see, 90 points. I'm sorry, we just nerfed Bullgrin. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like Bullgrin, and they do have -1 damage and yada yada yada. But for 90 points, 15 wounds, with again, T6, 5 up save, 5 up invuln versus range, 6 up versus melee. With rapid fire 2 on a 712 2 attack 36-inch range weapon. That's fine. Tangle Cannon, I can understand if you don't want to take it. It doesn't seem that interesting to me, but please, enlighten me if this is the sauce. Mind you, it hits on 4s. I get it. But hey, orc shooting, I don't have too much sympathy because this is still a bit better. You'll eventually hit things, especially when things let you improve on the hits, right? Or maybe re-roll those hits too. So then I pulled up the Riptide. I was like, alright, the Riptide just went up to 190 as well. Alright. It's got to be in the same realm. Everybody talks about how it's kind of tough to get rid of a Riptide. I agree. T9, 2 up save, 4 up invuln, 14 wounds. This unit can shoot after it fell back. Once per battle, death wounds on weapons, the ranged weapons. And each time the bearer makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the hit roll. And that's not even mentioning the 2 missile drones that get to do their little thing, right? And these fuckers fly. Okay, cool. Okay, alright. So you're telling me for 14 wounds, it's the same price as 30 wounds? Similar, you know, invulns. Don't get me wrong, 4 up invuln is much better than 5 and 6. Understandable. But this thing is already tough to get rid of, right? And nothing is stopping you from bringing other Tau things in the Kroot detachment, so you can still benefit from your army rule. An army rule that, outside of Retaliation Cadre, is only active for 3 out of 5 turns. Assuming you make it to turns 3, 4, and 5 if you're playing Kalyan. So that's the Riptide. And again, this is the Rampagers. And again, I don't give a fuck. The effective, like, weapon output for 30 wounds at 190. Goodness. With an invuln, that's a lot of chunk to get through. We're running, like, I shouldn't say we're, but just thinking about, like, the swarm list, right? The Horde list, the swarm list, Black Templars that just got hit, my unending swarm that just keeps taking L's apparently. Um, you're talking about units with like 20 wounds for 120. All right, 120ish points somewhere along there. Maybe 160 for like well, I guess 170 if we're talking gargoyles, things like that, right? I will pay another 20 points for 10 more wounds and twice the toughness. And as we've learned, with like Chaos Cult, sometimes getting through wounds isn't that easy, especially when they have invuns. Hell, again, Green Tide, one data sheet. Yeah, Mega Knobs were in it too, but the benefits target one data sheet. And it gets worse if you have less than 10 models. Yeah, if I don't see people with Kroot hunting pack, what the fuck is this shit called? Yeah, Kroot hunting pack with 3 bricks. The Rays. Yeah, they get a feel no pain from the Technomancer, and they can regenerate. That's true too. But you understand how hard it is to get through that many wounds effectively in a timely manner. Krootok Rampagers. I'm not understanding why I'm not seeing the beefiest horde list we have ever seen with these rules between the Rampagers and the Riders. Each squad is a little less than a tenth of my list. I will pay half of my list for 135 wounds, right? Because that'd be 6, 30, 90, 15, 3, 45. Yeah, 135 wounds, right? Goodness. For the ability to shoot back and just, I don't, again, doing mortals in whatever way they can, and then having attacks on top of that that have lance and plus one to hit. Goodness. Riptide, 190. Once you cap out of however many damn Krootox things you can bring in, throw these bitches in. So you can do your damage output too. Fuck it. Bring the damn Tiger Shark still. So this can just blast everything else off the board. Oh, yeah, let's talk about the battle shoots even further too. Brought this up. This is the profile of the most melee ranges battle shoot. It is T5, 3 upset, 4 wounds for 3 models. Okay. Yeah. Don't really understand how a Kroot Tox is tougher than the elite battle shoots or has more wounds or gets an invuln. I don't really understand that, but the way I hear Tau players talk so badly about Kroot Tox and Kroot, except for Kyle Grundy, I am perplexed. Now I get it. You want your army rule so you can pew pew. I got that. But damn, it doesn't look like you were pew pewing that hard. Sure, increase the AP characteristic by 1, right? Da 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 da. Weren't pew pewing that hard. I get it. Sustains and lethals does make a huge difference. And with Red Cat, increased AP and strength or something like that. I get it. That makes a huge difference when you have those things on top of that. But just for straight up 1-to-1, I'm not that mad at the weapon difference. I'm not that mad. Let's even look at Farsight, who gets the invuln but is the leader. Alright, cool. That's crazy. Then further, let's look at the Shapers. And I kind of paired them out of what I think you're probably bringing them with. The Flesh Shaper, sustained hits 1 for melee weapons for the unit. Going back to this one, crits on 5 sustained. Feel no pain of 6 for the unit, and if they destroy something in the fight phase, destroy the unit, I should say, because don't want to send people off and think it only takes a model. If you destroy the unit in the fight phase, it becomes a feel no pain of 5 up instead. I'm like, that probably goes with these guys, the Firestalkers, I would imagine. In which at the start of the battle, select one unit from your opponent's army. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets that unit, that attack has the lethal hits and precision ability. And if you encrypt, equip one Firestalker with the Petra, sure, range weapons get ignores cover. So, ignores cover, lethal, sustained, precision on fives. Now I get it, only in melee for the on fives part, but you're telling me you get 12 of these models with grenades? And again, that's focused towards one unit in your opponent's army. After that, all of this part falls off. That's fine. They have infiltrate and stealth. So, like, you can probably tee up where you're going to go to get rid of that thing. Alright, cool. Let's look at another War Shaper. Or another Shaper, excuse me. The Trail Shaper. This gives reactive move to the unit. Okay. And a redeploy. After both players have deployed their armies, you can redeploy this model's unit and one other friendly Kroot unit. When doing so, any of those units can be placed into strategic reserves regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserves. Now, this is where somebody needs to inform me, please, if you can, if I don't have this correct, right? If I have 3 Trail Shapers, does that mean I get to redeploy 6 fucking units of Kroot that have reactive moves, that infiltrate and scout with stealth? Alright, cool. Let's talk about the Carnivores that I assume you're taking with them because they give sticky objectives. Alright, cool. The War Shaper. Final one. Once per battle round, one unit from your army with this ability can use it when its unit is targeted with a stratagem. Reduce the CP cost of that stratagem by 1. So this is the one where it's just like, hey, no reinforcements for 1 CP. What are you doing? You can't do that. Root of Honor. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can select one friendly Kroot unit that is battle shocked, and within a foot of this model, that unit is no longer battle shocked. Sure, comes in handy every now and again. But you can also make it so that your War Shaper has precision and dev wounds on lethal hits too. Sure, got it, got it. Um, that's the War Shaper. I think if you're taking it, maybe you take it for the Farstalkers. Can't really understand if the War Shaper is that good, but for the few Kroot aficionados out there, um, let me know if the War Shaper is the one that is actually the bee's knees after all of this. Then we go on to the Lone Spear. The Lone Spear has Lone Up, Scouts, 7 inches, Stealth, 12-inch move. Its ability. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that hits an enemy unit, until the end of the turn, each time another Kroot model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can re-roll the hit roll. Not just once, the entire hit roll. Okay, sounds good. Alright. Fish for 6s if you need to. Fire and Fade. In your shooting phase, after this model has shot, if it is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to 6 inches. Can't charge after that. But you have Fire and Fade. and the ability to make your Kroot the Kroot models, again, not restricted to carnivores, farstalkers. This includes the riders and rampagers. Can reroll the hit, and again, not just once, the hit roll. So naturally, I was like, you mean to tell me Alona blocks out from 12 inches, has a move of 12 inches, has scouts to 7. I can throw on Kroot Flock to ignore cover on these pretty okay-ish weapons, right? Oh, mind you, Assault Blast or Heavy Precision. Cool. Alright. One attack for the Heavy Precision Long Gun, 36 inches. Or the Blast Javelin, Assault Blast, 18 inches, D6, hitting on 4s. Strength 10, AP 2, damage 2. Pretty solid choices, all things considered. I can put Kroot Flock on this bad boy, ignores cover, and you can't set up within a foot of the damn Lone Rider, who can't be shot outside of a foot. And then I was like, well, you can stack this, surely, right? You can bring Darkstrider with his Pathfinder team. That also scouts 7, infiltrates as well. So, doesn't infiltrate, just scouts. But this one infiltrates and scouts. Who has the jammer array? Enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of this model. So you could just take both board edges real quick, real sneaky like, after that scout of 7. And make it so that your enemy cannot set up from reserves for, if you put it perfectly, what, 24 inches across? Actually, 36 across? Is that how this math would work? Yeah, good luck. And you probably screened out your back because you're playing, I don't know, Kroot, where there's a bunch of these tiny fuckers. So, just don't play the game. And this Darkstrider, while this model is leading the unit, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, add 1 to the wound roll. Fuck it. Fuck it. So you get all of this in this detachment that everybody's like, no, 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 no. And why would I want to do that? I get it. You can put a lot of bodies now that Kroot carnivores are open as an option. But why wouldn't I just take beef? Like just straight bulk. When that's the point of having a bunch of tiny fuckers where you give them straight bulk, right, by weight of numbers. And you can still do that on top of that, right? So let's go back to this real quick. Just, I get it. Probably the models weren't obtainable at these points in time, like enough of them. Probably. That's what I'm assuming. So I'll give these people the benefit of the doubt, right? And there were 220 at the time. 220? That's a lot, right? 220 and 105, 210, yada yada yada. So maybe that's a reason why. As to why you're not just running a bunch of Terminators, I guess, at your opponent. Meganobs at your opponent. For a tide, a flock, a murder of Kroot. So yeah, I'm snitching, basically. Tao, you got off good. And if you don't want to play them, that's on you. But this, on paper, seems pretty damn good. I know some people were playing it this weekend, and I was like, let me look at that again. And I see why. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment from me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.